In a small town, nestled on the outskirts of busy highways, stood a quaint little diner named Betty's Place. The neon sign flickered to life each morning, promising warmth and comfort to all who entered. For 28-year-old Lily, the diner was more than just a workplace, it was a sanctuary amidst the chaos of life. With the weight of medical bills from her late father's illness looming over her, the diner was her lifeline. But the pressure was palpable, and the looming threat of eviction made it hard to breathe. One chilly morning, Lily pressed her palm against the foggy glass door, bracing herself for another day of forced smiles and hurried footsteps. As she stepped inside, the familiar aroma of bacon and freshly brewed coffee welcomed her. Yet, just as she felt a flicker of hope, her manager, Grace, appeared with arms crossed and a steely glare. "You're late, Lily," Grace snapped, her tone sharper than the knives in the kitchen. Although Lily was only 5 minutes past her shift, she knew better than to argue. Grace had a knack for finding fault, especially when it came to scheduling. "I'm sorry, the bus," Lily began, but Grace waved her off, focusing instead on the orders piling up. "Get to work. We have customers waiting," Grace ordered, dismissing Lily with a flick of her wrist. Taking a steadying breath, Lily dropped her coat off in the back and grabbed a stack of menus. She approached the first table, a family of 4 huddled together. The mother wore a weary expression, while the father scanned the menu as if searching for the cheapest items. "Welcome to Betty's Place," Lily greeted softly, her heart aching for the family. "We have a special on pancakes today if you're interested." After a hesitant glance, the mother nodded. "We'll share 2 orders," she whispered, eyes darting to her children, who were blissfully unaware of the family's struggles. Lily jotted down the order, her heart heavy. She couldn't help but notice Mr. Thompson, a regular, hunched over in the corner booth. His worn jacket and trembling hands told her he was barely scraping by. "Good morning, Mr. Thompson. Can I get you your usual coffee?" she asked. He fiddled with a few coins on the table. "I'm a bit short today, Lily. Just water for me." "Don't worry about it," she smiled. "Coffee's on me today." As she poured him a steaming cup, Lily felt a sharp gaze from Grace. "Lily, we're not running a charity here," she hissed, eyes narrowed as she approached. "You give away another freebie, and I'll dock it from your paycheck. You understand?" Lily nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. She had lost count of the times Grace had threatened her over small acts of kindness. But how could she ignore the hungry faces around her? Just then, a tall man entered the diner, wearing a well-worn jacket and faded jeans. He settled into a corner booth, and Lily approached him, offering her usual cheerful greeting. "Good morning. Can I get you something?" "Just a black coffee and the breakfast special, please," he replied, his voice warm and inviting. Lily couldn't shake the feeling that there was something different about him, something genuine. While he waited for his food, she hurried back to her other tables, determined to give every customer a bit of extra kindness. As the morning rushed on, the family of 4 finished their pancakes and left behind a note that read, "Breakfast is on us. Have a wonderful day." Lily's heart swelled with gratitude for the small acts of kindness that seemed to ripple through the diner. But Grace noticed. "Lily," she barked, cornering her with a stack of dirty dishes. "I know you're giving meals away. This is coming straight out of your paycheck." Lily stood frozen, her heart racing. Just then, she noticed the man in the corner booth, who had been quietly observing the entire scene. He caught her eye and offered a reassuring nod. Later, when Lily delivered his breakfast, he smiled warmly. "Thank you for your kindness," he said, his eyes sparkling with sincerity. As she returned to the kitchen, Grace was waiting. "You've got to stop this," she warned. "You're ruining the diner." Lily's heart sank. She knew she was walking a fine line, but she couldn't ignore the needs of others. Just then, the man in the booth stood up, and as he reached for his wallet, he handed Lily a folded bill wrapped around a note. "This is for your kindness," he said quietly. "And for the meals you've given to others." Lily thanked him, tucking the note into her apron. But as soon as he left, she opened it, and her breath caught in her throat. It was a $1,000 tip, accompanied by the words, "Keep shining your light. Thank you for showing what real compassion looks like." Overwhelmed, she clutched the note to her chest. This money could help her catch up on rent and ease the burden of her father's medical bills. The next morning, as Lily returned to work, the atmosphere felt electric with tension. Grace was on edge, barking orders left and right. But Lily tried to focus on her customers, reminding herself of the kindness she had received. Another server, Jenna, sidled up to her with a conspiratorial grin. "I saw you with that truck driver yesterday. He left you quite a tip, huh?" Lily's heart raced. It was just a standard tip, she deflected, not wanting to spark any rumors. But Jenna raised an eyebrow. "Really? Because I thought I saw you tearing up over a note he left you." Lily pressed her lips together, trying to brush off the comment. But as the day wore on, she couldn't shake the feeling that trouble was brewing. Later that afternoon, the man returned, ordering his usual. Lily felt a flutter of hope. Maybe he would help her again. But just as she approached his table, Grace's voice cut through the air. "Lily, come here." Grace barked, her eyes glaring at Lily's apron pocket. Feeling a wave of dread, Lily followed Grace to the back office, where Jenna was already waiting. "Lily, we found this in the break room," Grace said, shoving a wad of crumpled bills in Lily's face. "Care to explain?" Lily's heart sank. "I don't know where that came from," she stammered. "I would never steal." But Jenna chimed in, "I saw her rummaging around the register earlier. Maybe she got tempted." Panic flooded Lily's chest. "You know I would never do that. Please check the register records." "Enough." Grace snapped. "You're suspended until I sort this out." Tears burned in Lily's eyes, and she stumbled out of the office, feeling humiliated. The weight of betrayal crushed her as she realized the owner of the diner, the very man who had helped her, would soon hear about her suspension. Over the next few days, Lily stayed in her tiny apartment, overwhelmed by anxiety. The eviction notice hung on her fridge like a dark cloud. She couldn't stop thinking about the man who had shown her kindness. When she finally checked her mailbox, she found bills waiting for her: electric, water, and rent. The only glimmer of hope was the $1,000 tip, which she used to pay part of her rent. But guilt gnawed at her. That money should have helped with her father's medical debts. One afternoon, a soft knock echoed from her door. Hesitant, she opened it to find Mr. Thompson standing there, clutching a bag of groceries. "I heard you were taking some time off," he said gently. "You forgot to give me my senior discount, so I thought I'd return the favor." Tears filled Lily's eyes as she accepted the bag. His kindness reminded her that there were still people who believed in her. Meanwhile, online rumors swirled about her alleged theft, and Lily felt trapped. When she tried to call the diner, no one answered. But then, she discovered a petition circulating online, demanding her reinstatement. The outpouring of support warmed her heart, yet she still couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal from the man who had once been her ally. One night, as she sat in her apartment, she noticed headlights shining through her curtains. Peeking outside, she recognized the familiar brown jacket of the man, but this time he got out of a sleek car. She watched as he met with Grace under a street lamp. Panic surged through her. Why was he with her? Was he part of the scheme to frame her? Fueled by adrenaline, Lily dashed out of her apartment. "Daniel," she called out, startling both him and Grace. "What are you doing here?" Grace snapped, visibly irritated. "I need to talk to you," Lily shouted, her heart racing. "Why are you meeting with Grace?" Daniel looked at her, his expression unreadable. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way," he said softly. Find out what? Lily demanded, tears brimming in her eyes. Lily, I own Betty's place. I've been going undercover to see how things run, he revealed. Shock coursed through her. All this time, he had been observing her, gathering evidence. But why hadn't he defended her? I never wanted you to get hurt, he said. I was trying to gather proof of the real culprits behind the cash discrepancies. Just then, Grace interjected, so this was all a test. No, Daniel replied firmly, I needed to see how this diner operated without my influence. Lily's heart raced as the pieces fell into place. Daniel wasn't her enemy, he was her ally. Then why didn't you step in when Grace suspended me, she asked. I needed to gather evidence, he said. I've discovered that Grace has been mismanaging the diner and allowing others to blame you. Grace's face paled as Daniel continued. I've seen enough. You're relieved of your duties effective immediately. Lily stood in stunned silence as Grace stormed out, leaving behind a flurry of tension. Turning to Lily, Daniel said, your suspension is lifted. I'd like you to come back to work, but not just as a server. I want you to manage the diner. Lily's eyes widened in disbelief. Me? Manage? Absolutely. You have the heart and integrity this place needs, he replied, a gentle smile spreading across his face. Tears of relief and hope filled Lily's eyes. I'll do it, but I'll need your help. With a nod of affirmation, Daniel said, together, we can turn this diner around. As they stepped back into the diner, Lily felt a renewed sense of purpose. No longer was she just a waitress, she was a beacon of hope, ready to lead with kindness and compassion. In the weeks that followed, Betty's place transformed. Lily introduced a pay it forward board, allowing customers to buy meals for those in need. The diner thrived as regulars returned, bringing a sense of community back to the space. One evening, as they closed up, Daniel turned to Lily. You've done an incredible job. I never imagined I'd find someone who embodies the spirit of this diner. Together, they stepped outside, locking the door behind them. Lily whispered a silent thank you to the universe, grateful for the kindness that had illuminated her path. She had found her place, not just in the diner, but in a community built on compassion.